How often do you find yourself struggling to stay in control when no one else is watching? Have you ever wondered what it truly means to master yourself? Not just in public, but in the quiet moments when it feels easier to give up or take shortcuts. This video isn't about quick fixes or flashy tricks. It's about building real strength, the kind that comes from choosing what's right, even when it feels uncomfortable or invisible. Imagine waking up every day with the confidence that your actions reflect who you really want to be, no matter what anyone else thinks. Today, I'm going to show you how to take control of yourself in ways that change everything, from your habits to your mindset. Stay with me, because what you learn here could be the difference between just getting by and truly owning your life. Let's get started. Number 1, take full responsibility for everything you feel and do. You wake up one day and realize your life doesn't feel like yours anymore. You're doing things you said you'd never do. You're saying things you regret the second they leave your mouth. You're living a routine that doesn't match the person you know you could be. And deep down, you feel it. You're the one letting it happen. That's where the truth hits you. If you want to change your life, you have to stop blaming. You have to stop making excuses. You have to do something most people never do. You have to take full responsibility for everything you feel and everything you do. This is not about guilt. This is about power. As long as you keep pointing the finger out there at your past, your parents, your partner, your boss, you stay stuck, you stay helpless, and you stay angry. But the second you say, "It's me," something happens. You get the control back. That's the turning point. That's where the change begins. Not when life gets easier. Not when people finally treat you right. But when you say, "No more blaming, it's my life, and I'm going to own it." Taking responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. Life throws hard things at people who don't deserve it. People get betrayed, abandoned, rejected. Some of you were hurt before you even had a chance to understand the world. And that pain is real. But here's what you've got to hear. It's still your responsibility to heal. No one else can feel what you feel. No one else can do the inner work for you. And no one else is coming to rescue you from your own choices. You've got to be the one. You've got to stand up and say, "This story doesn't end this way. Not on my watch." If you're angry, don't blame them. Understand why you're angry and deal with it. If you're afraid, don't run. Sit with the fear. Ask yourself what it's trying to tell you. If you're always distracted, always escaping, always avoiding, face the truth. Your life is not going to get better by accident. You've got to sit with the hard emotions. You've got to look at the decisions you're making. You've got to stop pretending and start owning. We live in a world full of noise. Everybody's got something to say. People blaming the government, blaming their ex, blaming their circumstances. But ask yourself, where does that get them? Where do they end up? I'll tell you, broke, bitter, and stuck. That's where. Because when you don't take responsibility, you don't grow. You don't change. You just recycle the same pain, the same excuses, the same regrets, year after year. And that's no way to live. I want you to stop waiting for someone to hand you permission to be free. You don't need approval. You don't need someone to understand. You need to decide. Decide that you are no longer a victim. Decide that you are not going to live at the mercy of your moods. Decide that you will lead your own life. I'm telling you, once you do that, everything starts to shift. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop hiding and start showing up. You stop blaming and start building. That's what real self-control looks like. It doesn't start with discipline. It doesn't start with habits. It starts with ownership. It starts with that quiet moment where you say, "I don't like what I've become, but I'm not going to run from it. I'm going to take it back." You take back your thoughts. You take back your time. You take back your words. And yes, you take back your mistakes. Not to beat yourself up, but to learn. You've got to stop avoiding the truth and start using it. Every mistake has a message. Every regret has a reason. If you keep ignoring it, you're going to keep repeating it. Responsibility is the path to freedom. The more you take responsibility for, the more power you have. If you take full responsibility for your health, you stop waiting for the doctor to tell you what's wrong. You start learning, eating better, moving more. If you take responsibility for your finances, you stop complaining about the cost of living and start creating more value. You start budgeting, earning, saving, investing. If you take responsibility for your emotions, you stop blaming your partner for your unhappiness and start working on your own heart. The truth is simple. If it's in your life, it's your job to deal with it. Maybe you didn't cause it, but it's still yours to clean up. And no, it's not fair. But fair doesn't build strength. Fair doesn't teach you how to lead. Fair doesn't turn you into someone other people admire. Taking responsibility does. You've got to be the one who stands up in the storm and says, I'm not going to wait for someone else to change first. I'll go first. You might lose people when you do that. Not everyone wants to be around someone who refuses to play the blame game. But that's okay. Because the people who truly matter will respect you more. They'll see that you're not living by emotion. You're living by values. They'll see that you're not reacting to life. You're creating life. And that's rare. That's powerful. That's leadership. Every day you have a choice. You can blame or you can build. You can hide or you can heal. You can give away your power or you can take it back. Taking responsibility is not a one-time decision. It's a lifestyle. You've got to choose it every morning. When things go wrong, when plans fall apart, when you feel misunderstood, you've got to stop and say, what part of this can I own? That question will save your life. That question will rebuild your self-respect. That question will guide you when everything else feels out of control. This is what separates the 1% from the rest. They don't waste time complaining. They don't waste energy blaming. They use every setback to sharpen themselves. They turn failure into feedback. And they take full ownership of their energy, their focus, and their results. That's why they rise. That's why they grow. That's why their influence expands. You've got the same power inside you right now, but it's buried under excuses. It's hidden behind comfort. And the only way to uncover it is to take full responsibility for your life. Not just the good parts, all of it. That's where your strength is. That's where your confidence comes from. That's where your future begins. So ask yourself right now, what part of your life are you avoiding? What emotion are you blaming on someone else? What habit are you justifying instead of changing? Be honest. Be ruthless. Because nothing changes until you do. You don't need to fix everything overnight, but you do need to stop pretending. You need to face the truth. You need to decide that from this day forward, you are done living at half power. This is your moment. This is the fork in the road. You can keep pointing the finger, keep telling the same story, keep running in circles, or you can rise. You can take back control. You can say, I'm not going to be the person who just survives life. I'm going to master it. I'm going to control myself. And when you do that, when you truly own it, you will feel something shift inside you. You will feel pride instead of shame. You will feel calm instead of chaos. You will feel strong. And that feeling, my friend, is the beginning of everything good that's coming your way. Now take it, own it, and go live like you mean it. Number 2, build strong habits that lead you, not tempt you. If you don't build the right habits, your worst moments will build your life for you. People talk about willpower like it's some secret strength that only successful people have. But I'll tell you the truth. Willpower is weak. It runs out. It burns out. And if your life depends on your ability to fight temptation every day, you will lose because you're human. You get tired, you get lonely, you get frustrated. And in those moments, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your habits. That's why this matters so much. You don't need habits that tempt you. You need habits that lead you. Most people don't think their habits matter until it's too late. They wake up 10 years later and they don't like who they've become. They don't know how they gained the weight. They don't know why they can't focus. They don't know why they keep chasing the same high and feeling more empty every time. But here's the real reason. Their habits were quietly shaping their future while they were too distracted to notice. What you do every day becomes who you are. And if you spend your time scrolling, complaining, comparing, and waiting, then you'll end up with a life full of regret. Because you never built anything real. You just reacted. You just filled your time. But here's the shift. You don't have to live like that. You can start building strong habits that work for you even when you feel weak. You can put systems in place that keep you on track even when life falls apart. And that doesn't just change your productivity. It changes your identity. Every habit you create is a vote for the person you want to become. If you get up early and move your body before the world wakes up, that's a vote for discipline. If you sit down every morning and write out your goals, that's a vote for clarity. If you take time to plan your day instead of just reacting to everything, that's a vote for leadership. And those votes add up. That's how you become consistent. That's how you grow. That's how you stop depending on motivation and start depending on character. But here's what most people get wrong. They try to build habits based on how they feel. They say, I'll wake up early if I'm in the mood, or I'll eat healthy if I'm not too stressed. But your feelings are not built for structure. They're built for survival. They want comfort. They want safety. They want the path of least resistance. So if you wait until you feel ready, you'll stay stuck. You've got to build habits that don't ask for permission. Habits that run without asking how you feel. Habits that are locked into your day like anchors. The best habits don't tempt you. They don't leave the door open. They don't make you wonder, should I do this or not? They remove the question. They remove the decision fatigue. And they lead you forward without asking for a fight. If you want to eat better, don't keep junk food in the house. If you want to write every day, don't wait until the evening when your brain is tired. If you want to spend less time online, delete the apps. Stop trusting your future to the version of you who's exhausted and distracted and emotional. That version of you is not the one who builds greatness. The one who builds greatness is the one who builds strong habits and locks them in. The truth is, your life doesn't get better when you try harder. It gets better when you train smarter. That means setting up your environment to make good choices automatic. It means designing your day so that success is the default, not the exception. Because when your habits lead you, you don't have to wrestle with temptation every morning. You don't have to keep restarting. You don't have to keep apologizing to yourself. You just move forward. And no, it's not easy. At first, it's uncomfortable. You're breaking old patterns. You're letting go of things that used to bring quick pleasure. But the reward is real. The reward is quiet pride. It's focus. It's momentum. It's walking through your day with peace, knowing you are finally living like the person you always wanted to be. That's not just satisfying. That's life-changing. You've got to decide what kind of life you want, and then ask yourself, what habits belong in that life? Not the ones that sound good. Not the ones that other people like. The ones that actually take you where you want to go. Because every habit either builds you or breaks you. Every habit is either sharpening you or dulling you. And it's not just about big things. It's the small choices. The ones that seem harmless. The ones you make when no one is watching. People want the results, but they don't want the process. They want self-control without self-discipline. They want clarity without consistency. But that's not how it works. If you want to change your life, you've got to show up for the boring parts, the quiet parts, the parts no one claps for. You've got to commit to showing up even when it doesn't feel special, because that's where transformation lives. You can't outsource this. No one else can build your habits for you. No one else knows what temptations you face. No one else knows what time you waste. This is your job. This is your battle. And this is your opportunity. If you take it seriously, you can build habits so strong that you never have to rely on willpower again. You just follow the path you already built. You deserve more than a life of survival. You deserve more than waking up every day in a fog, wondering where your time went. You deserve a life of direction, a life that moves forward, a life where your habits don't drag you down but push you higher. And that life is possible. Not someday, today, right now. If you're willing to take control, start small, but start with conviction. Choose one habit that serves your future. Lock it into your day. Make it non-negotiable. Track it. Repeat it. Build it until it becomes part of who you are. Then add another and another. Stack them slowly, layer by layer, until you look up one day and realize you didn't just change your habits, you changed your life. Because you didn't wait for motivation. You didn't chase pleasure. You built a foundation, and now when hard times come, you won't fall apart, because your habits will hold you. When distractions come, you won't be shaken, because your path is clear. When doubt creeps in, you won't panic, because you already made the decision. So here's the call. Build strong habits that lead you, not habits that tempt you, not habits that steal your time, not habits that make you question your worth, but habits that remind you every day that you are capable, you are focused, and you are in control. This is how you win, not with willpower, but with systems, with discipline, with consistency. You don't need more motivation. You need a life built on purpose, and it starts today. Now go build it. Number 3, remove anything that makes you weak or distracted. If you want to be strong, focused, and in control, you have to stop keeping things in your life that make you weak, not someday, not later, right now. Because every day you allow something that drains your energy, steals your attention, or dulls your mind, you give it permission to keep controlling you. And the truth is, most people don't lose their strength all at once. They lose it slowly, bit by bit. They let one small thing slide, then another, and pretty soon their fire is gone. Their drive is dead. They're still breathing, but they're not really living. You can't rise to your potential when your life is full of noise. You can't stay sharp when you're always distracted. You can't build peace when your world is cluttered with things that don't serve you. You can't feel strong when you're surrounded by what keeps pulling you down. And deep down, you know what those things are. You've felt the weight of them. You've seen what they do to your energy. But maybe you've been too afraid to let them go. Maybe you've convinced yourself they're harmless, but they're not. Every distraction has a cost. Every source of weakness steals a piece of your future. You might not feel it today, but it's taking something from you, and it adds up. The wasted time, the missed opportunities, the emotional burnout, the lack of focus, that becomes your life. And if you don't stop it, you'll wake up years from now wondering where your strength went, wondering why you feel so off course, wondering when things got so noisy and heavy and out of control. That's why this matters. You have to cut out what weakens you. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, but now. That includes people who drain your energy. That includes habits that leave you feeling empty. That includes distractions that steal your time and leave nothing in return. You don't need more hours in the day. You need fewer things stealing the hours you have. Start with what you already know is not helping you. The apps that keep you scrolling with no end. The websites you keep visiting out of boredom. The entertainment that leaves you numb. The late night routines that wreck your mornings. The people who bring drama instead of growth. The thoughts that keep feeding your fear. These aren't small issues. They are the things stopping you from becoming who you're meant to be. Most people never change because they never subtract. They keep adding new goals, new plans, new hacks, but they don't remove what's already hurting them. You can't just add strength. You have to cut out weakness. You have to clean your environment. You have to protect your focus. You have to stop entertaining things that make you question yourself, slow you down, or throw you off your path. You have to make a real decision. What kind of life do you want and what doesn't belong in it? You don't need more willpower. You need less friction, less noise, less temptation. And that means removing access. That means deleting apps. That means changing your routine. That means stepping away from people who won't grow with you. That means turning down things that sound fun but leave you feeling empty. You don't do it to be rigid. You do it to be free. Because freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is having the strength to say no to what keeps you stuck. Freedom is not chasing every shiny thing. Freedom is knowing what matters and building a life that honors it. You don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to keep proving yourself. You don't have to stay available for every distraction that knocks what you tolerate becomes your standard. So if you keep tolerating weakness, it becomes normal. You get used to feeling tired. You get used to being unfocused. You get used to doubting yourself. But just because it's normal doesn't mean it's right. Just because everyone else is living that way doesn't mean you should. You deserve better. You deserve clarity. You deserve energy. You deserve peace. But you have to fight for it. You have to clear the path for it. You have to remove what blocks it. You might feel a little discomfort at first. You might feel like you're missing out. But stay with it. Stay with the quiet. Stay with the space. Because what feels uncomfortable at first will become power. What feels like emptiness will become clarity. And what feels like sacrifice will become strength. That's the reward. You'll start to think clearer. You'll sleep better. You'll work faster. You'll feel more grounded. And you'll finally feel in control of your life. You don't need to know everything right now. You just need to know what doesn't belong. The things that always leave you feeling off. The habits that you keep justifying, even though they hold you back. The excuses you keep repeating. That's where you start. You remove the things that weaken you. Not to impress anyone. Not to be perfect. But to be clear. To be stable. To be powerful again. This isn't about being extreme. It's about being intentional. If something's not helping you become stronger, more focused, or more fulfilled, ask yourself, why is it still here? If something keeps draining your time or energy, ask yourself, what is it costing me to keep this around? Because every day you choose to keep something weak in your life, you're choosing a weaker version of yourself. But if you choose to remove it, if you choose to cut it off, you send a clear message to your brain, your heart, your future. I'm done making room for what doesn't serve me. I'm done pretending this isn't a problem. I'm done giving away my power for comfort. That's when the shift begins. That's when you stop reacting and start leading. That's when you stop being scattered and start building something solid. You've got the strength inside you already. You don't need more information. You don't need another reminder. You just need to decide what no longer has a place in your life, and then do the hard work of letting it go. One app, one habit, one toxic relationship, one useless distraction at a time. Strip away everything that makes you weak, and watch how much power comes back into your life. Because once you stop feeding your distractions, you start feeding your dreams. Once you stop tolerating weakness, you start living with strength. And once you remove what makes you scattered, you finally become whole. You finally become you. Now take a deep breath. Look at your life with open eyes and make the decision. Not later. Now. Remove everything that makes you weak or distracted. Your future depends on it. Your peace depends on it. Your purpose depends on it. Choose strength. Choose clarity. Choose power. Start today. Number 4, practice saying no, even when it feels uncomfortable. If you want to take control of your life, you have to learn to say no. Not the polite kind of no that still sounds like a maybe. Not the hesitant no that comes with guilt and second guessing. I mean the kind of no that's firm, clear, and final. The kind that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. The kind that says, I respect myself enough to choose what's right for me, even if you don't understand it. Most people don't lose control of their lives in big dramatic ways. They lose it in the little moments when they keep saying yes to what they don't want. Yes to extra commitments they have no energy for. Yes to people who take more than they give. Yes to distractions that waste time. Yes to staying quiet when they need to speak up. Yes to things that go against their values just to keep the peace. And every one of those yeses chips away at your strength. Until one day, you wake up, look around, and realize you're living a life that doesn't even feel like yours. Saying no is hard, especially when you care about people, especially when you don't want to disappoint anyone. But here's the reality. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't matter, you're saying no to something that does. You're saying no to your energy. You're saying no to your focus. You're saying no to your goals. You're saying no to peace of mind. And eventually that kind of life will drain you. Not because you're doing too much, but because you're doing too much of the wrong things. You can't live on your own terms if you keep living by everyone else's expectations. You can't build strength if you keep avoiding discomfort. You can't protect your time if you're always afraid of how people will react. The truth is, some people won't like your no. Some will try to guilt you. Some will take it personally. But none of that changes the fact that you have a right to your own space, your own priorities, and your own voice. You don't owe anyone your peace just to keep them comfortable. You've got to decide what matters to you and protect it like it's sacred, because it is. Your time, your energy, your focus, they are not unlimited. They are your most valuable resources, and you don't give them away just because someone asks. You use them wisely. You guard them with intention. You direct them toward what helps you grow, what gives your life meaning, what brings you closer to who you want to become. Anything else? It doesn't get your yes. Saying no is a skill. It takes practice. It takes courage. And at first, it might feel uncomfortable. It might feel selfish. It might feel like you're letting people down. But you're not. You're being honest. You're being strong. You're refusing to carry what was never yours to carry in the first place. And once you start doing that, you'll begin to feel something powerful. Clarity, confidence, control. You'll start to realize that most of the stress you feel didn't come from what you were doing. It came from what you didn't say, the boundaries you didn't set, the opinions you didn't express, the choices you didn't make for yourself. That's the real burden, not responsibility, but the fear of upsetting others. And if you keep living from that place, you'll never feel peace. You'll always be chasing approval instead of living in alignment. Think about it. How many times have you said yes just to avoid a tough moment? How many times have you agreed to something then resented it later? How many times have you put yourself last just to keep things smooth on the surface? That's not strength. That's survival. And you were not made to survive your own life. You were made to lead it, to own it, to live it with truth and purpose. You don't need to apologize for having limits. You don't need to explain why your time matters. You don't need to feel guilty for protecting your peace. Saying no is not rejection. It's direction. It's clarity. It's choosing your path on purpose instead of being pulled down someone else's. Start small if you have to. Say no to something that doesn't align with your goals. Say no to a request that drains you. Say no to the fear of what others might think. And watch what happens. You'll start to feel lighter. You'll start to feel stronger. You'll start to feel free. People who respect you will understand your no. People who don't, they were only there for what you could give them, not for who you really are. Let them go. You're not here to be everything for everyone. You're here to be true to yourself, to your calling, to your values. That's where your strength lives. Some people will be surprised when you start saying no. Some will push back. But stay firm, stay calm, stay kind. Because you don't have to be rude to be strong. You don't have to raise your voice to make your point. You just have to stand tall in your truth. And that kind of clarity changes everything. Eventually, you'll realize that the more you say no to what doesn't belong, the more space you create for what does. You'll have more time for what matters. You'll have more energy for what moves you. You'll have more clarity about who you are and where you're going. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. This is your life, not theirs. And you only get one. So protect it. Don't give away pieces of yourself to keep others happy. Don't bend yourself into a version of you that people prefer. Don't sacrifice your own growth just to fit in. Be bold enough to say no when it's the right thing to do. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it's messy. Even when your voice shakes. Because your future is worth it. If you want to be strong, practice saying no. If you want to grow, practice saying no. If you want to live with peace, purpose, and direction, practice saying no. Not just once. Not just when it's easy, but every time your soul knows something doesn't feel right. Say no to pressure. Say no to guilt. Say no to pleasing everyone. Say no to what takes from you. Say no to being less than who you are. And when you do, you'll start to feel it. Your confidence coming back, your energy returning, your mind getting clear. That's the power of boundaries. That's what strength feels like. That's what control looks like. So from this moment forward, make a decision. Don't be afraid of no. Use it, practice it, stand by it, because the more you say no to what doesn't serve you, the more you'll say yes to the life you were meant to live. And that's a life worth fighting for. Number 5, delay what you want to test your real power. If you can learn to wait for what you want, you will discover the kind of power most people never find in their entire life. The world we live in doesn't teach you patience anymore. It sells you speed. It promises shortcuts. It tells you that if you don't have it now, you're falling behind. But that's a lie. The truth is, if you always take what you want the moment you want it, you'll never know what you're truly made of. You'll never grow. You'll never build discipline. You'll never gain control over yourself. You'll just keep feeding a hunger that never goes away. And eventually, it will own you. There's something powerful that happens when you delay pleasure on purpose. When you hold back, not because you can't have it, but because you choose not to. That's not weakness. That's power. That's proof that your mind is stronger than your impulses. That your values mean more to you than your cravings. That your future matters more than this one moment. If you can wait when you're hungry, you've got power. If you can walk away when everything in you wants to stay, you've got strength. If you can hold out when the reward is right in front of you, you've got control. And that kind of control will separate you from the crowd, because most people don't wait. Most people can't wait. They give in to what feels good now and sacrifice what could have been great later. That's the difference between potential and mastery. You see it in the gym, in business, in relationships, in money, in personal habits, everywhere. People give up long-term success for short-term comfort. They quit because it's hard. They take what's easy. They waste time chasing instant wins. But the people who really win, they don't fall for that. They train themselves to wait. Not because they enjoy the wait, but because they know what they're building while they wait. Every time you delay what you want, you're building muscle. Not just physical muscle, but mental strength, emotional resilience, spiritual clarity. You're teaching yourself that you're not a slave to urges, that you don't need everything now, that you can walk through discomfort and still stay committed to your purpose. And that mindset, that's rare. That's what changes lives. That's what builds champions. You want to test how strong you are? Try saying no to yourself. Try turning down what you want most in the moment for what matters most in the long run. Try holding off when everyone else is diving in. Try going without, not because you can't have it, but because you're building something more valuable. That's where the fire is. That's where the transformation lives. That's how you rise. Think about it. How many times have you gotten in your own way because you couldn't wait? How many opportunities have you lost because you chased comfort instead of commitment? How many habits have you tried to build only to give up because the reward didn't come fast enough? The problem isn't your ability. The problem is timing. You want the results now, but the truth is, nothing meaningful comes instantly. Anything worth having is worth waiting for. And if you can't wait, you're not ready to lead yourself. Self-control isn't just about discipline. It's about vision. It's about seeing beyond the moment, beyond the craving, beyond the feeling. You train yourself to delay gratification because you believe in where you're going. You believe your goals matter more than your emotions. You believe that you don't need to feel good right now. You need to grow into the kind of person who feels fulfilled long term. There's nothing more empowering than realizing you don't need the thing you thought you couldn't live without. That urge to check your phone, to eat junk food, to go back to that unhealthy relationship, to spend money you don't have, to avoid hard work. All of it loses power the moment you choose not to feed it. That choice, made over and over again, rewires you. You stop being a victim of your own habits. You start becoming the architect of your own life. No one's coming to rescue you from your urges. No one's going to stand beside you and say, "Don't do it." That's your job. That's your moment of truth. And the good news? Every single time you say, "Not now," you're getting stronger. Every time you delay a desire, you're taking back control. Every time you push back on what your emotions want right now, you're moving closer to what your future needs. It won't be easy. There will be moments where your mind screams for comfort, where your body aches for relief, where your heart tries to convince you that giving in just this once won't hurt. But it will. Because giving in once makes it easier to give in again. That's how weakness grows, one decision at a time. But so does strength. Every hard choice you make in the name of growth plants a seed. And one day, those seeds become habits. They become discipline. They become character. Don't just talk about wanting to change. Prove it. Prove it in the quiet moments when no one's watching. When you choose to stay on track even though no one's there to cheer you on. When you delay comfort because you've got a mission. When you put off pleasure because you're chasing purpose. That's when real growth happens. That's when your identity shifts. That's when you stop being controlled by life and start taking control of it. You've got to want your future more than you want your feelings to be satisfied right now. You've got to value progress over comfort. And that doesn't mean you never enjoy life. It means you choose when and how you enjoy it. You stay in charge. You decide the pace. You earn your rewards through discipline, not impulse. This world will always offer you something easier, something quicker, something cheaper. But that's not the life you're here to live. You're here to rise, to lead, to create something that lasts. And that means being willing to wait when others won't, to hold steady when others cave, to keep building when others walk away. Your future self is watching every decision you make. Every time you delay gratification, you're making an investment in that future. Every time you say, "I'll wait," when everything inside you wants to say yes, you're choosing strength. You're becoming someone your future self will be proud of. Don't waste this opportunity to build yourself. The next time you feel the pull to act on impulse, pause, step back. Ask yourself, is this helping me grow? Or is this just feeding a habit I'm trying to break? That moment of awareness is where your power lives. You are stronger than your cravings, stronger than your feelings, stronger than your distractions. You just have to prove it to yourself, one moment at a time. So here's your challenge. Delay what you want, not forever, just long enough to prove that you can, long enough to build the discipline that will carry you when motivation fades, long enough to break the cycle of giving in, long enough to take back your power. And when you do, you'll know the truth. You never needed quick fixes to feel strong. You just needed to own the choice to wait. Number 6, write down your rules and follow them daily. If you don't have your own rules, the world will give you its rules, and you will live a life built by accident instead of a life built by design. Most people drift through their days without direction, wondering why they feel lost, why they break their own promises, why they never quite feel in control. It's not because they lack potential. It's because they never sat down and decided who they're going to be. They never wrote down their rules. And when you don't have rules, you follow feelings. And feelings, my friend, are unreliable. One day you're motivated. The next day you're tired. One day you're focused. The next day you're distracted. One day you're locked in. The next day you're overwhelmed. But rules, real personal rules, cut through all of that noise. When you write your own rules, you take control back. You stop guessing. You stop negotiating with yourself. You don't ask, do I feel like it? You ask, is this part of my code? And if it is, you do it. No drama, no debate, just action. And that kind of clarity gives you power. It keeps you centered when life tries to pull you off course. It keeps your mind sharp when the world wants to dull your edge. Now, I'm not talking about the rules society hands you. I'm not talking about rules to impress people or rules that look good on paper. I'm talking about rules that come from deep inside. Rules that reflect the kind of person you've decided to become. Rules that you live by because they remind you who you are when the pressure rises and the distractions multiply. It could be something as simple as wake up at 6 a.m. or no phone before breakfast. It could be train 5 times a week or always speak the truth. These rules are not punishments. They are structure. They are clarity. They are the fence around the life you're trying to build, and they keep out what doesn't belong. And the key isn't just writing them down. That's only the first step. The key is following them every single day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's when it matters most. Anybody can follow rules when they feel good. It's when you're tired or frustrated or alone that the rules show you who you really are. They become your compass. They keep you from collapsing into chaos. They help you act with purpose when it would be easier to give in to emotion. Without rules, you react. With rules, you respond. That one difference can change your whole life. But here's where most people mess this up. They make their rules too vague, too soft, too many. They write goals instead of standards. They say, I want to be healthier, instead of saying, I don't eat junk food on weekdays. They say, I want to focus more, instead of, I turn off all notifications from 9 to 5. That kind of wishful thinking doesn't build character. What builds character is clear, sharp, simple rules that leave no room for confusion. You need to wake up and know exactly what's expected of you by you, not by your boss, not by your parents, not by social media, you. Because the day you decide that your standards matter more than your excuses, you'll become dangerous. You'll become focused. You'll become proud of who you are when no one's watching. When I was young, I drifted. I was broke. I was confused. I was full of potential, but going nowhere. Then one day I realized I was living without rules. I was living on emotion and chance. And I asked myself, what would happen if I became a man of discipline? That's when I wrote down my rules. I wrote things like, finish what you start, work when others sleep, take responsibility every day, speak with honesty. Don't waste time with people who don't respect your time. Those rules didn't just improve my life. They saved it. They gave me back my dignity. They gave me momentum. They gave me control. You want more confidence? Create rules that make you proud of yourself. You want more peace? Create rules that keep your life clean and simple. You want more focus? Create rules that shut out noise and protect your energy. And the beautiful part is, you don't need to wait. You can do it today, right now. You can sit down with a pen and paper and start defining who you are. not who you hope to be, who you choose to be starting today. And once those rules are written, you guard them, you review them, you keep them close. You don't compromise just because someone doesn't understand them. These rules are not for everyone else. They are for you. They are the lines you will not cross. They are the promises you make to yourself and keep. Will you mess up sometimes? Yes. Will you break your own code once in a while? Probably. But the goal is not perfection. The goal is direction. The goal is ownership. And the more you follow your rules, the more trust you build with yourself. That trust becomes unshakable. That trust becomes a foundation. That trust gives you confidence that doesn't depend on outcomes. It comes from integrity. And that's what most people are missing. They want to feel good about themselves, but they break their own rules all the time. They lie to themselves. They say they're going to change, but they don't follow through. That creates self-doubt. That creates confusion. That leads to feeling stuck. But you don't have to live that way. You can start living with intention. You can start holding yourself to a higher standard. Not because someone's watching, but because that's who you've decided to be. Look around. Most people are lost, not because they don't have dreams, but because they don't have rules. And dreams without discipline are just wishes. They fade, they vanish, they become regret. But dreams backed by rules, that's how you build a future. That's how you walk forward with strength. That's how you create a life worth living. This is your wake-up call. Write down your rules. Make them sharp. Make them specific. Make them real. Then commit. Every day. No matter how you feel. Because the life you want is on the other side of self-control. It's on the other side of structure. It's on the other side of personal accountability. And the moment you create your own rules and follow them, you stop being at the mercy of life. You start leading your life. Take this seriously. Don't wait. Don't hope. Decide. You don't need motivation. You need order. You need to become the kind of person who doesn't need to be told what to do because you've already told yourself and you listen. That's power. That's freedom. That's who you were born to be. Number 7, face your urges instead of hiding from them. Most people lose their power not because life is too hard, but because they keep running from themselves. See, we all carry urges. That's part of being human. The urge to escape, the urge to procrastinate, the urge to overeat, overspend, lash out, scroll endlessly, or chase short-term relief at the cost of long-term peace. These urges, they come fast. They come loud. They demand your attention. But here's the truth. Your strength isn't measured by what you avoid. It's measured by what you face. And if you want real self-control, you can't keep hiding from your urges. You've got to look them in the eye. Most people try to control their lives by pretending. They pretend the urge isn't there. They distract themselves. They avoid the mirror. They avoid silence. They stay busy so they never have to sit with what's real. But when you do that, your urges don't disappear. They grow stronger. They wait in the dark. They show up when you're alone, when you're tired, when your defenses are down. And if you've never faced them, they'll take over. They'll drive your behavior. They'll make your choices for you. But you're not a puppet. You're not weak. And you don't need to keep giving your power away. You just need to stop pretending and start paying attention. When you feel that pull, that wave of craving, that shot of temptation, that little voice telling you to take the easy road, pause. Don't run. Don't hide. Observe. Get curious. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? What am I actually feeling right now? What am I trying not to feel? You'd be surprised how often an urge isn't about what it looks like. The urge to eat isn't always about hunger. The urge to scroll isn't always about boredom. The urge to lash out isn't always about anger. Most of the time, it's about discomfort. It's about not wanting to sit with something deeper, shame, fear, loneliness, frustration. But if you can sit through the wave without acting on it, if you can feel it without feeding it, something powerful happens. The urge loses control over you. You stop being its prisoner. You start becoming its master. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. It's not. It takes courage to feel instead of flee. It takes discipline to watch instead of react. But every time you do, you grow stronger. Every time you resist the impulse to escape, you build a new layer of control, a new layer of self-respect, a new layer of inner peace. You start living with integrity, not just willpower. People think discipline means forcing yourself to behave. But real discipline is understanding yourself so well that you don't need to fight yourself. You understand what's pulling at you. You get to the root of it. You learn to breathe through it instead of bury it. That's not weakness. That's emotional strength. That's psychological resilience. That's power. Let me ask you something. What's one urge that's been controlling you? One habit you keep going back to, even though you know it's pulling you down? Is it anger? Is it distraction? Is it comfort seeking? Is it addiction to validation? Or maybe even guilt and self-sabotage? You know what it is. You've been living with it. And you've probably tried to fight it with sheer force or avoid it with distractions. But neither of those things ever really work, do they? You can't beat something you won't even face. So what if, starting today, you stopped running? What if instead of fearing the urge, you started studying it? You sat with it. You watched it. You saw how it rises, how it builds, and how it passes. Because it will pass. All emotions do. But if you react to every single urge, your life becomes a series of reactions. No direction, no clarity, just noise. But when you feel that urge and you choose not to act on it, not out of fear, but out of awareness, you break the chain. You create space. And in that space, you reclaim your control. That space is your freedom. That space is where you choose your next move, instead of being pushed into it by old patterns. I want you to realize something. You're not broken because you have urges. You're not weak because you feel tempted. You're human. But humans grow when they face discomfort head on. When they stop running and start learning. When they stop hiding and start owning their reactions. Think about who you could become if you mastered this one skill. Not suppressing your urges. Not ignoring them. But facing them with full awareness. And choosing not to let them run the show. What kind of confidence would you walk with if you knew you could trust yourself in the moments that matter? What kind of peace would you feel if you knew your behavior matched your highest values, not your lowest cravings? This isn't about perfection. This is about ownership. This is about building a life you're proud of, one choice at a time. And those choices start not when you feel good, but when you don't. When that urge rises up and says, just this once, and you answer with, not anymore. And if you fall, get back up. Not with guilt, not with shame, with insight, with self-respect. Learn from the moment. Ask better questions. Get stronger, because every urge is an invitation to know yourself better. Every temptation is a mirror, showing you what you still need to heal. And healing doesn't happen when you escape it. It happens when you face it. So from now on, don't just react. Don't numb. Don't shove your feelings into a corner and pretend they're not there. Stand still. Watch, understand, and then choose. Because the more you face, the more power you gain. And when you stop fearing your urges, they lose their grip on you. You're not here to be controlled by invisible forces. You're here to rise above them. You're here to become a leader of yourself, to respond with clarity, to act with purpose, to live with strength. But that can only happen when you're honest with yourself. When you see your patterns and decide, I will not be run by this anymore. This is your moment. Not to be perfect, but to be real, to grow, to evolve. Start facing what you've been running from. Because the version of you that's on the other side of this work, the focused, disciplined, calm, confident version of you. That person is waiting for you to take the first step. Now's the time. Stand your ground, face the urge, and prove to yourself that you're stronger than anything trying to pull you backward. Number 8, hold yourself accountable every night before sleep. If you really want to change your life, the most powerful moment of your day is not when you wake up. It's when you go to bed and ask yourself one honest question. Did I live today the way I said I would? Most people go to sleep the way they go through life, on autopilot. No reflection, no awareness, just distractions and noise until their mind shuts down. But growth doesn't happen by chance. Transformation doesn't sneak up on you in the middle of the night. It happens through one conscious decision to hold yourself accountable. It's easy to post about goals. It's easy to read books, listen to podcasts, follow motivational content. But when the day is over and there's no one watching, no applause, no validation, just you and your thoughts, can you look yourself in the mirror and say, I gave everything I had today? That's the test. That's the separation between people who dream and people who build. Because here's the truth. What you do during the day is important, but how you review your day is what makes it stick. If you want to level up, you've got to stop letting your days blur together. Stop surviving one moment to the next without checking your alignment. Ask yourself, did I stay true to my priorities? Did I live in integrity with the person I'm becoming? Or did I break my word, compromise, or drift into habits I swore I'd outgrow? You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be honest. Accountability isn't about shame. It's about ownership. It's about looking at your day and saying, that was a win, or that's something I need to fix. And it's in those quiet moments of reflection, when no one else is grading you, that your real character is built. The most dangerous habit in the world is pretending your actions don't matter. That skipping one day won't affect the outcome. That ignoring the gap between your intentions and your behavior doesn't count. But it does. One missed commitment turns into 2. One excuse becomes a pattern. And before you know it, a week has passed. A month, a year, and nothing's changed. Not because you didn't have the tools, but because you stopped holding yourself to your own standards. So imagine this. What if every single night before your head hit the pillow, you had a meeting with you? A raw, no-nonsense conversation where you reviewed your actions, your mindset, your words. What would that version of you start to look like after 30 days? After 90 days? After 1 year? That version wouldn't need outside motivation because they'd be powered by something internal. Not hype, standards. And you know what else happens when you live this way? Your confidence explodes. Because confidence isn't built from compliments. It's built from consistency. When you say you'll do something and then you actually do it, your brain registers it. You start believing in yourself because you've shown proof. You trust your own word. And that trust becomes fuel. That's what accountability gives you. It gives you clarity, direction, strength. But it only works if you stop lying to yourself. Stop saying, I'll try. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop brushing off the fact that your results come from your choices. The world might throw challenges your way, but how you respond, that's always on you. Some people avoid accountability because it makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to face their flaws, their excuses, their own role in their struggles. But what they don't realize is that discomfort is the exact thing that forges strength. The minute you start asking, where did I let myself down today? Where did I show up small when I could have been bold? Where did I settle when I could have pushed? That's when everything begins to change. You can't grow if you refuse to evaluate. You can't improve what you won't admit. And you can't lead a powerful life if you keep hiding from your own reflection. So tonight, before you scroll, before you distract, before you drift off, pause. Just for a few minutes. Ask yourself the questions that matter. Did I move with purpose? Did I respect my time? Did I say what I meant? Do what I promised? act with intention? Or did I drift, delay, and let the day run me instead of the other way around? And here's the secret. You don't need hours. You don't need a journal full of answers. You just need a moment of truth. Because the people who grow, who transform, who actually build something meaningful, they're not the ones with the most talent. They're the ones with the most honesty. They look at their flaws and fix them. They catch themselves slipping and self-correct. They treat every night as a checkpoint, not to shame themselves, but to upgrade themselves. So here's what you do. Create a system. Every night, ask yourself 3 simple questions. What did I do well today that I want to repeat tomorrow? Where did I fall short of who I want to be? What's one adjustment I'll make tomorrow to close that gap? That's it. Small questions, big transformation. Because when you do this consistently, something shifts inside you. You stop living reactively. You start operating from a higher level of awareness, and your days stop being random. They become intentional. Let other people waste their evenings in denial. Let them numb out and call it rest. You're building something. You're stacking wins, even in your reflection. And soon that accountability becomes automatic. It becomes a habit, and that habit changes your life. Don't let another night slip by without checking in with yourself. You deserve more than that. You deserve a life you can respect, and that begins with actions you can own. Start tonight. Ask the hard questions. Look yourself in the eye. And remember, your progress is not about being perfect. It's about being present enough to learn, adjust, and rise again tomorrow with more clarity, more purpose, and more power. So if you're serious about building a better life, don't just plan your goals. Don't just hope you'll get better. Create a system that makes improvement inevitable. That system starts with one powerful habit. Hold yourself accountable every single night. Because when you do that, your future won't be built on fantasy. It'll be built on truth. And nothing is stronger than that. Number 9, train your focus by doing one hard thing daily. If you want to become unshakable in a world built on distractions, then you must train yourself to do something hard every single day on purpose. Discipline isn't born from comfort. Focus doesn't grow from convenience. Power never comes from ease. Every person who has built a life of clarity, strength, and achievement has one thing in common. They learned how to lean into difficulty instead of running from it. They didn't avoid the hard thing. They made it their ritual. Most people spend their lives escaping challenge. They avoid discomfort like it's poison. They scroll to avoid thinking. They procrastinate to avoid doing. They excuse themselves from effort and then wonder why they feel weak, scattered, and unmotivated. But here's the truth. Mental toughness is not gifted. It's grown. And it's grown by doing exactly what your emotions tell you not to do. You build strength by doing the thing you'd rather avoid. The moment your mind whispers, "That's too much," that's your signal. That's your opportunity. That's the door that leads to the next version of yourself, but only if you walk through it. Imagine this. Each morning you identify one task that stretches you. One deliberate action that demands full attention, full energy, and full presence. And you commit to it, not because it's convenient, but because it's necessary. That one daily challenge becomes your training ground. It's where your character is tested. It's where your discipline is carved. It's where you stop being controlled by comfort. This isn't about punishing yourself. It's about sharpening yourself. Because the mind, just like the body, becomes stronger under resistance. Every time you choose the difficult path over the easy one, your identity begins to shift. You stop being someone who hesitates and start becoming someone who acts, someone who finishes, someone who focuses. And that focus, it's a weapon in today's chaotic world. We live in a time where everything is screaming for your attention. Notifications, opinions, temptations, they're all pulling you away from yourself. But focus isn't found by escaping the noise. It's found by deciding each day what matters more than comfort. So when you say, "I'll do one hard thing daily," You're not just building a habit. You're building immunity to excuses. You're programming your mind to seek growth instead of pleasure. You're rewiring your brain to push instead of pause. And slowly, your confidence starts rising. Not because life is easy, but because you've become stronger than your excuses. This habit doesn't require hours. It doesn't require perfection. What it requires is intention. You choose one task that demands effort. It could be a cold shower, a challenging workout, writing a difficult email, studying for one focused hour without your phone, having an uncomfortable conversation, waking up an hour earlier, anything that stretches your current limits. And when you finish that task, you don't just get the reward of completion, you get proof. Proof that you are in control. Proof that your emotions do not dictate your actions. Proof that you're capable of more than you thought yesterday. And that proof, it compounds. Day after day, your self-respect grows. Your willpower thickens. You stop doubting yourself because every morning, you earn a reason to trust yourself. You earn clarity. You earn confidence. You earn momentum. But let's be real. This won't feel good at first. Your mind will resist. It will tell you to wait, to do it later, to pick something easier. That voice is not your enemy. That voice is your signal. When it shows up, it means you're standing on the edge of breakthrough. And your job is not to silence it. It's to move anyway. The people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, they're not void of that voice. They hear it too. The difference is they've trained themselves to move through it. They've practiced leaning into hard things until discomfort became normal, until fear became fuel, until hesitation turned into action. And now it's your turn. You don't need to start big. You just need to start. One deliberate challenge a day. That's it. Not for a week, not when you feel like it. Every single day. Because repetition creates identity. And if you want to become someone who thrives under pressure, who executes without delay, who focuses deeply in a shallow world, it begins with what you choose to do when things get hard. Ask yourself this right now. What's one thing I've been avoiding? One task I know I should do, but I've delayed. Now take that and make it today's challenge. Do it first. Do it fully. And when it's done, take a breath and realize that version of you who hesitated, they're already fading. Because the new version of you, the one who chooses growth, is being built through action. This is how you take back your focus. Not by hoping it shows up, but by crafting it through deliberate challenge. The mind, like a muscle, sharpens through repetition. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop hoping the path will get easier. The path doesn't get easier, you get stronger. And that strength is built one hard thing at a time. So tomorrow, wake up and ask, what will make me sharper today? What task will challenge me in a way that strengthens my will? Do that. And then again the next day. And the next. Before long, your focus will become undeniable. Your presence will deepen. Your energy will rise. And your life, it will shift in ways you never imagined. The hard thing is the way. Don't run from it. Run toward it. Because everything you're looking for is hiding on the other side of resistance. Now go earn it. Train your focus. Sharpen your edge. Build your power. One hard thing at a time. Number 10. Choose what's right. Even when no one sees you. The true test of character isn't what you do when everyone's watching. It's what you choose when no one is looking. There's a hidden power in doing what's right when the world is silent. In a culture obsessed with applause, likes, and instant recognition, the real leaders, the real champions, build their legacy in the quiet moments that go unseen. These moments are where integrity is forged, where your soul whispers the truth louder than any crowd ever could. Think about the last time you faced a choice that no one else knew about. Maybe it was a small act, refusing to cut corners, telling yourself the truth instead of making excuses, honoring a promise no one else expected you to keep. That single moment, carried more weight than any public gesture because it proved something fundamental, that your values don't depend on approval. They depend on commitment. This is where real power lives. It's in the willingness to stand firm when you're alone with your conscience, to choose honesty over ease, kindness over convenience, excellence over mediocrity. These decisions don't bring instant glory, but they build an unshakable foundation of trust with yourself and the world around you. Imagine the world's greatest leaders, visionaries and creators. Their achievements didn't come from chasing applause or external validation. They were fueled by a commitment to what they believed was right, even when no one else understood or appreciated it. Their quiet choices, day after day, stacked into unstoppable momentum. You may feel invisible now, like your efforts go unnoticed or your sacrifices are overlooked. That's exactly why this moment matters. Choosing what's right when no one sees isn't about recognition. It's about ownership of your destiny. It's about building a character so strong that external opinions don't shake you. Every decision you make in solitude is a vote cast for the person you want to become. When you act with integrity alone, you train yourself to be consistent, trustworthy, and authentic. This consistency creates a ripple effect. Others will feel it, even if they can't name it. The unseen work lays the groundwork for visible success. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who worked in silence, showing up early, doing the hard tasks no one else wanted. No fanfare, no praise, just relentless commitment to his principles. Years later, when he finally stepped into the spotlight, the strength of his unseen efforts propelled him to heights others only dream of. The world never saw the hours of quiet sacrifice, but those hours made all the difference. Your journey is no different. The actions you take behind closed doors define your legacy far more than the ones you perform on stage. It's in these unseen moments that true discipline, courage, and honor take root. When you resist shortcuts, refuse to compromise, and hold to your standards privately, you're cultivating a power that no one can take away. It's tempting to seek validation through external approval, to tailor your actions to what will earn you praise, but that's a trap. When your identity depends on others' eyes, you become vulnerable to their judgment and fickle opinions. Freedom comes from anchoring yourself in your own values, acting with integrity regardless of audience or outcome. Ask yourself, what choices am I making today when no one else is watching? Am I cutting corners or am I holding the line? Am I being honest with myself even when it's uncomfortable? Am I showing up fully even when it feels like it doesn't matter? The answer to these questions shapes the foundation of your future. When you choose what's right in solitude, you build resilience. You strengthen your self-respect. You cultivate the inner strength to weather any storm or challenge. This isn't about perfection. Everyone stumbles. What matters is your commitment to rise each time and recommit to your values in the quiet moments. Each time you choose integrity without applause, you're rewiring your brain to prioritize long-term growth over short-term gratification. Your character is a story told in the chapters no one reads. The mundane decisions, the moments of temptation resisted, the sacrifices unseen, all of these create a narrative of strength that radiates outward without words. And when the world finally does see you, it will be drawn not just to your achievements, but to the quiet consistency that built them. People respect those who have earned their success through unseen labor and unshakable principles. So tonight, before you rest, reflect on your unseen choices. Are you living a life that honors your highest standards, even when it feels lonely? Are you building a legacy of integrity that no spotlight can measure? Remember, greatness is not about applause, it's about faithfulness. To your values, your promises, your word to yourself, the invisible work you do today becomes the visible triumphs of tomorrow. Choose what's right even when no one sees, because your true self is watching, and that is the only approval you truly need. Now go live with that quiet power, make your unseen decisions count, and let your life become the testimony that integrity isn't a performance, it's a way of being.